I'm Jack Hammer, and wanted to go ahead and hope everybody's doing well, and want to welcome you all here. It's been a little while since I've been able to do one of these film breakdowns, and so what I wanted to do was, spend a lot of time in the run up to the draft with going through and breaking down Trey Lance and all the other quarterbacks that were available in this draft, and so we all finally got to lay eyes on Trey Lance for the first time on Saturday night against the Chiefs. Was able to finally pull up some all-22 footage. So I wanted to go ahead and go through that with you all and break that down, kind of give you what my thoughts were of the game. This process is a little bit different. I know that in some of my previous streams, the video quality wasn't all that great with the film. Part of that was because I was sharing the screen. This time instead, I'm gonna be trying to use a video file, so it's going to be a little bit different. Might be a little bit more. There might be a little bit more of what you're seeing on the screen right now, where I'm having to try to figure out where I am as far as the time and things like that on the video. It's not as easy to jump through like it used to be with the NFL version of it. So let's go through this though, and let's take a look at Trey Lance. Let's see how he did. I think one of the things, I'm just going to throw this out there right at the beginning. We're looking at this as Trey Lance. This is his first game in the NFL, but when I'm breaking down his film, I'm not looking at him necessarily in that way. And the reason for that is because he's competing in a way with Jimmy Garoppolo for the starting job. So you've got to grade both of these guys on a level playing field. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. We're going to start right off here. The first play for Trey Lance in the ball game. This is a play that we talked quite a bit about, or we saw quite often when we did when I did my breakdowns of Mac Jones in the run up to the draft. And all of this it's play action with a deep drop. Over here, you're going to get the deep curls, about 20 yards. He's going to get to about the 34-yard line before he breaks down. On this side, you have Brandon Ayuk running basically the same thing. His job is to get to about that 20-yard mark and settle down as well. Unless he sees the safeties rotating over, then he's going to keep going. But if you've already seen this game, you remember these guys are going to curl. So it looks like it's going to be a big shot play with the deep play action. All of that's designed to help those curls open up. So let's run through this one time full speed. Well, actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to break this down as we go through. We're going to get him there's this deep drop. Right at this point, the ball should be coming out right now. So he doesn't throw it. And then he has Ayuk open as well. Doesn't throw it to him. So let's go back. Let's watch this one from the end zone view before we go back and we slow it down. You're going to see him. There's your play action. Nice play action fake. Deep drop. That first hitch, the ball should have come out. The linebacker that's chasing has his back turned to the ball. He's not going to make the play. So let's go ahead and let's watch this now. I can't slow this down, so it's going to be full speed. So I'm just going to do some stops here. Hits his back foot. Right now at this point, the receiver's hit the top of his drop. The distance, the ball should be out right now. So he's already late on the throw. He shouldn't have to be waiting to see the numbers of the receiver. This is a landmark. The ball should have come out. That would have, at that point, you have this linebacker was about another 2 or 3 yards towards the line of scrimmage, so he's open. Decides not to throw it to Sherfield. Then he turns and looks to Ayuk. Ayuk's even more wide open than Sherfield was, because you've got a good 12 yards between these two guys. This linebacker, he's chasing. He has no idea what's even back there. By this point, the ball would have already been in the air over his head and should have been in the receiver's hands. Instead, he pulls it down. Still makes a nice play. And then he throws a perfect ball into Ayuk. And I think what happens here is Sorensen kind of flashes in Ayuk's eyesight, causes him to turn his head, and the ball bounces off his hand. So it's a bad drop on Ayuk's part. Bad play on on both of their parts. This ball should have come out sooner. Let's watch him again from the end zone. Back foot, stop. This linebacker is not going to make a play. Look at his position. His back is to Lance. So all he needs to do is throw it over the top of his head. It doesn't have to be close to him, obviously, but he can still drive this ball pretty much on a line and get it from there to Sherfield without a problem. Instead, he turns, looks the other way, and he has, again, the linebacker's got his back turned to him and he's waving his hand, but he should have been able to get that ball in there. But a nice throw after he moves. My only thing with this one is that's a play that needs to be made. We see Jimmy Garoppolo throw that ball quite often on target. And that's a play that, if you watch the film breakdowns, we saw Mac Jones, and I think he could hit in his sleep. So that's a little bit of a frustrating ball right there. Part of the frustration for me, or part of the worry for me, is this not throwing this ball is something that I saw out of Trey Lance during his time at North Dakota State. And what I mean by that is, let's just look at this one more time from this view. We'll just do it from the top view. There were a number of times at North Dakota State where he's in a situation like this, where he's got a linebacker in between him and a receiver. The receiver's wide open in behind him, but he doesn't throw the ball. See, he's ready to throw. His hands have already separated to throw, and he can get that ball here and put it on Sherfield. It's a 20, it's almost a 30-yard throw from where he's throwing the ball. He can put that on a rope and get it to him. But this is the kind of ball that we saw him hold and do exactly this at North Dakota State. That stuff's not going to, it's going to translate at some points, but at other times you've got to be able to make the plays that are designed for you. And he doesn't do that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, hit, throw, hitch, throw. Nope, moves, puts it right on him. So it ends up being a really nice play. It ends up looking like the fault is on Ayuk, but that's really on the quarterback as well. So let's go ahead and we'll skip forward to his next play. And this is going to be, after this little run right here to Sermon, it's going to be 3rd and 8 at their own 16. What I want you to see here is he knows that he's got to get to the sticks. And what he's going to get is the two primary guys are going to have, this is Charlie Warner. He's going to run a little curl route where he's coming over the middle. He's going to get to this just beyond the stick. So he's going to get to the first down marker. This guy right here is Juwan Jennings. He's actually the hot read on this play. What you're gonna end up getting is you're gonna get a blitz from this linebacker. This backer here is gonna blitz as well. So now you've got 4-on-4. So you've got man coverage across. This is your hot receiver right here. His eyes are glued to 89 until he sees the pressure. He's not looking anywhere else. I don't think he realizes on this play that he's got a blitz coming, and he thinks he's going to be able to stick it in here. Let's watch his eyes here. You can see he's got his head turned to Warner the whole time, stares him down, and all of a sudden now he sees the pressure. Then he kind of breaks down in the pocket and throws and goes down for a sack. This ball should have been out. I know this is a bad block by Brunskill right here. Brunskill's getting pushed back, and then he trips over Trey Sermon, which makes it look even worse. But that ball should have been out a tick sooner. Watch this. You're going to see right now, throw the ball, and you can see him kind of start to do this kind of thing where he does this because now he's at that point he knows he has pressure, and instead of just getting rid of the ball to where it should go, he's panicking in the pocket. Staring down the receiver, turns his head, throw it. I know the guy's there, but you have time to just dump it. It's a short little throw. So first couple of plays, would have liked to have seen him make the throw to Sherfield. Didn't. Would have liked to have seen him make the throw to Ayuk. Chose not to. Decided to use his legs instead. Makes a good play. Should have been a completion. The drive should have had more than 3 plays. That's a little bit nitpicky on that one, but I think that's a good coaching point. Kyle Shanahan talked a lot about wanting to get into and work with him and be able to show this film and have him working on the things that he needs to improve on. I think this is a good example of it here. We're going to come back right after that, and then everything changes, right? Very next play action, boot him out. This is a design play for him to pull that up and throw back to Sherfield. This was a play call based on what was said after the postgame, in the postgame press conference, that this was a play that had been designed to go to Sherfield. So this was a really nice play by Kyle Shanahan to set this up. They felt like they knew like they were going to get this coverage. The feeling all along was that Sherfield was going to get the ball. So there wasn't a whole lot that Lance had to do on this play other than get to the launch point and let it go. Nice ball, hits him on the money. And and there's not a whole. I've seen some people talk about this, and I've seen on Twitter as well. This is a play that's very similar to one that Jimmy Garoppolo ran in 2019 against the Green Bay Packers. It's not exactly the same thing because that one went to George Kittle, so it's a little bit different, but it's similar in the same way. And I think, I keep hearing people say that this is a throw Garoppolo can't hit. Well, there's a difference, and the difference between Garoppolo and Lance, I'm just going to say this real quick, is that this ball is going to come out sooner with Jimmy Garoppolo because he's not going to run the fake out quite so far. Garoppolo is going to turn this ball up right about here, and he's going to launch it and get the same result. It's a great play. Don't get me wrong. This is a great throw by Lance. But let's be a little bit more realistic on what this was. It was a pre-designed shot play that was designed to go to the receiver that got the ball the entire way, and he does a good job of laying it on him. So you have to give him props for that. But it wasn't like this was Brandon Ayuk really wasn't ever the target. He was the guy that was supposed to be drawing the coverage away so that they could hit the shot over the top. And I see the comments on Garoppolo would have made that throw. He would have hit Ayuk. No, he wouldn't have, because the play design was to go where it went, and the guy was open. He would have hit it. And the reason I say it is because he did it yesterday in practice. All right, so let's jump forward to a little bit here. We're almost there. All right, so this is early in the second quarter, first play of the second quarter. It's going to just be a little screen out to the left to Jennings. Easy throw, easy pitch and catch. The way that the NFL's changed the rules on the blocking on the outside, the way that the defenders can't go low on these guys is really going to help out the 49ers receivers. As far as the chat, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'll take some of the chat after. It's hard for me to follow along in the chat while I'm also doing the video, because I've got the video enlarged so that I can see it a little bit better and also manage the time a little bit, the where we are in the plays. So definitely though, we'll go and take some chat. Let's get through this, and then we can go through, and if there's a specific play you want to see, we can go back to it and look at it there. So the easy screen little play, that's going to be, like I said, that's going to be one that's going to work out for them, I think, throughout the year. So now we're looking at 2nd and 6. And this one here is this is going to be another sack. They bring out Gallman. Again, you're going to get the blitz. You see the linebacker starting to creep pre-snap. Lance's job here is he's got to read over here to see what's going on. He's going to get these two tight ends are going to be running up the field. They're opening up for Gallman to come underneath. So let's watch and see what happens. So right at the snap, I don't think he sees the blitz coming from his right, because he's looking over this way. This linebacker that had stepping up turns, and he's going to be playing man coverage. So they've got man here, 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 and then this guy's got Gallman. This ball needs to come out right now. That ball should be coming out of his hands. There's nothing to read down the field. At this point, he should be able to see that this is man coverage. And it just takes him too long to get the ball out of his hands. He really should be seeing this pre-snap. He should be able to recognize this right. There's the lean of the linebacker on the left side. There's also the lean of the linebacker on the right side. So he's got both of those guys are starting to lean. He's staring off to the left side the whole time. This ball just needs to come out quicker. Throw the ball now. And instead he doesn't. He gets sacked. This is a play that Shanahan talked about in the post game. They asked him on Sunday. He was asked if there was any sacks that that he felt was more on Lance than on the offensive line, and this was one that he pointed to. That ball should have been out early, and getting that ball out early to Gallman puts him in gives him either a first down or it's going to be 3rd and short. Instead, they're left now with 3rd and 14. This is a bit of a tough one here too. They're rolling their coverage, and when they roll their coverage, they're left with look at the left side of the field. He's got 2 wide receivers. He's got his receiver here, and he's got his running back. And he's got 3 guys covering them. On the top of the screen, he has 3 receivers it's 3 on 3, really 3 on 2, because this guy right here is going to be covering this tight end and this one here. So if he's reading the left side, he's getting pressure. Aaron Banks gets beat around the edge just like he does later on with a sack, and he's able to get the ball out quick. It's 3rd and 14 though. You get the little check down. It's not the worst play in the world because it's not a turnover. So there's your positive. You gain a couple of yards. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe the running back's able to make a play. Either way, you're still in positive situation. You don't take a sack. It makes for an easy field goal. If he'd worked to the top of the screen, I think he could have thrown the ball at about the same time, and he might have gotten a little bit better yardage out of it. Because the thing is, it's a tough one though. Because look how quickly Banks gets beat. Banks is beat right around the edge so fast. I don't think he really ever would have had time to develop on this side. Anyway, if he had had the time, that would have been the better side to go to because he would have had this man in the flat with this guy really almost would have been a blocker because this guy was on top of the linebacker was on top of this receiver until he saw Lance starting to turn and throw. So not a bad play by Lance. It's an easy pitch and catch. It's third and 13. They're going to give you that. Banks just gets beat right around the edge, and so does the right tackle. Both of them get beat in almost the same manner, and that's been a problem for Banks all throughout training camp. He struggled in pass protection with guys on edges when guys are kind of, especially around his outside, when they go inside or coming straight up, he's able to hold his own or drive them across. But when they start, he has a real hard time getting to that outside edge on his right side. So after the field goal, they come back. This is the very next possession, 1st and 10 on their own 1. And on this play, you're going to get a flat by Josh Hockett out here in the right flat. And then you're going to get the tight end running a corner. Corner is going to do a nice little inside release, takes an inside release to kind of help pin this linebacker inside. And then he cuts out to the right. The progression on this is fullback, tight end. So that's where he's looking. And when we watch it from the back, it might show up a little bit better than when we watch from this angle. But this is it's a nice play by Lance. Nice ball. And he rips it to him for the big gain. When we watch it from this view, watch how quickly his head goes from, because Hockett's going to get caught at the line of scrimmage, but so watch how quickly his head goes from there, boom, looking, finds the tight end, and he drives it in there to him. And this is a really nice play by Lance. It's a nice throw. I like the look. He's looking at Hawk right there, but he realizes quickly that he's covered, and now he's got the tight end and he's going to fire it in there. The difference here between this throw and the earlier one is there's no one in the throwing lane. There's no one between him and where he's throwing the ball, so he delivers it. He doesn't have any pressure on him either, and he's able to step into it and he delivers it with authority. If you can give Lance open throwing lanes like this without anybody between him and his target where he's got to throw it over the top of him, he's exceptional. And so that's one of the areas that Shanahan's going to have to work around and really probably work with him on, is to make sure to get him to be able to see through those defenders and realize what's happening behind him, and still be able to rip the ball into the guys when he's got to throw it over the top of somebody. As I said, that was one of the issues that I saw on film with him at North Dakota State, and that's carried over here. Let's go on to the next one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through. There's 3 more pass plays. After those 3 plays, then I'll go ahead and I'll take a look at the chat, and then we'll get into into Lance's 2-minute drill possessions, and then his final possession of the game or after halftime. So we get the run here by Gallman for a yard. The 49ers offensive line throughout this game just didn't really get much of a push in the run game. There was only a couple plays where Banks had some nice blocks, but they really just didn't get any push. Brendel's getting knocked back there, and that's something that we saw throughout the game, even when the starters were in there with that first unit was just a lack of push. So this on this one here, this is going to be a they're going to run play action, and Lance is going to boot out to his left again. You're going to get a vertical route here. It's a basically what they're getting to is they're trying to get into a flood, meaning they're going to get vertical. This guy's going to be a flat, and this guy's running the over route, so he's running the deep route. A couple of things that you're going to see that blow this play up. First off, the defensive end does a really good job of getting out here and containing Lance, not letting him get around. If he lets Lance get outside, Lance is going to have more time to possibly hit one of his receivers down the field or take off running on his own. Play action does a good job of containing him. And this ball should be caught along the sidelines by Craycraft for a gain of about 4 or 5. And this is a really good example of the difference between playing at North Dakota State versus playing in the NFL. At this point right here, this is a 20-yard run up the middle, maybe even a touchdown run for Trey Lance if he's at North Dakota State. But here in the NFL, big number 99 steps up inside of him. This guy's closing on him quick, and Lance has to turn and throw it. And he does a good job of this is where his arm strength comes into play. There's no way that there's another 4-yard quarterback that can make this throw, put it on the hands of the receiver, and you actually blame the receiver for the incompletion. This was a really nice play by Lance. He didn't have anywhere else to go with the ball. Let's watch it again. And what I want you to watch is this little matchup right here, because this is another reason that this play gets blown up. River Craycraft's job is to run a flat. He's only supposed to be a couple of yards downfield. What happens though is 27 gets outside leverage on him and rides him up the field, basically driving him back. And as he's doing that, he catches Richie James. He's able to catch Richie James coming across the field. He's able to see if there's anybody coming in behind him, and he's able to fall into that as well and really takes away that route. So this one guy, because he's overpowering River Craycraft, is able to fall back and take away the second option. Because this route by James is really open. Would have been open if it wasn't for that cornerback there. So this is a good job by Lance of seeing what's happening in front of him and not taking that shot. Let me show you where I think he could have thrown it. Play action, boots out. Right here, right there, right before he plants, he's got the throwing lane of getting that ball up and over him to about the numbers. Because that's, he's not going to be able to drill it to him here, right? He's got to throw the ball out in front of him. So if he would have been, that his launch point would have been about right here. But this guy's standing right in his way, and he's falling back. If he had thrown that ball, it's a pick because you can see him falling. So nice job by Lance to start the scramble and keep his eyes up the field though. See 86 on the sideline and stick it against his hands, and Craycraft needs to make this catch. It would have given him a 3rd and 6 instead of a 3rd and 10. Okay, or excuse me, 3rd and 6, but about 3rd and 6 instead of 2nd and 9, which is important because now you come back on this run and you're going to get Craycraft running it out here. It's pretty well covered everywhere else except for Craycraft, and that's a really good throw by Lance to stick that on him. But this ball should have been a first down. They're at 2nd and 9, so there's 2 points here. Either Craycraft's got to get it up to 9 yards, 10 yards before he makes his cut, or just don't catch the ball in the play. Just don't drop the ball in the play before. It's a nice catch there, nice gain. But they're still going to have to punt. Really nice ball, and he catches it a couple of yards short. If he'd caught, again, catch that first ball, then that one would have been a first down. Let's move forward. We got a run play. They run the ball here on 1st and 2nd down, which sets up 3rd down. And this is going to be really the best throw of the game by Lance. And he just rips this ball into Richie James, and James drops it. And James has dropped the vast majority of balls that Trey Lance has thrown to him that I've seen during training camp. during the practices that I've been able to attend, uh, he just has a really hard time catching the ball from him. This one's a hard ball coming in at him. It's tailing away towards the sideline. And when I say it's tailing away, I mean the way that the spin of the ball is spinning out of his hands towards the sideline. He's not able to make the catch, and instead of extending the drive and being able to get a first down right there, you end up punting the ball away. And this isn't on Lance at all. He puts a great ball on the receiver. He sticks it on him and he drops it. So let me take a minute real quick here and see if there's anything over here that I need to answer. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and thank you for the super chat there. I really appreciate that. I think that's the first one that I've received. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's see all the bad. Well, we're going through this, and it wasn't all bad. And I know that I've made some comments on Twitter that may have seemed like that, but I don't think this is all bad. I just think that there's a lot of things that he can fix. And really looking at it after the game, the performance wasn't as good as I thought it was when I watched the game live. When I go back and watch it, and I can see the All-22 view of it, you can get a better idea of all the route concepts and things that are being run. Sometimes when you're watching it live, it's not quite as easy. So let's go ahead now. Let's get back into it. This is the 2-minute drive. 2-minute drive, and what we're going to get on this one is he's going to be looking out to the left, and then he's going to be coming back to James over the middle. So what he just kind of on this one, he just hangs to the left a little too long. Boom, boom, turn and throw. And really what happens is I don't even know if it's so much the turning, the hanging on the left as much as it is when he watches hands, when he comes back to the right side, you're going to see him kind of double clutch. And really what he needs to do is trust himself and throw it, right? You see that little hitch in his hands? That causes the ball does two things. It causes that ball to come out a little late, and I think it helps with, partially causes the inaccuracy. That little hitch equates to yards that James is gaining across the field. If he just throws the ball right on that first one, when he first starts to separate his hands, I think he's able to fit that in there, and he's probably going to throw a more accurate ball. See right there, see how he kind of hitched, you see him kind of separate his hands, put his hands back together, and then throw it. It's that little hitch in his motion that kind of slows everything up, and James is going to go from all the way over here. Watch out, you can kind of see his feet. And you can see, he's gaining yardage, he's gaining ground towards the oncoming defender. He's got to rip this ball right as soon as he separates his hands, right there. But he doesn't. He's got a little hitch in it. I don't know if it's that he's nervous. He didn't think, or he didn't maybe see it. He didn't. Maybe he's waiting for James to look at it. I'm not sure what it was, but either way, that little hitch in his throw is really what causes that incompletion. A little double clutch there, and then they're going to pick up the first down here with this little quick screen again, little tunnel screen out to Jennings. Did a really good job on both of those in this game. This is something that we saw Lance do quite often at North Dakota State as well. They ran these little screens. 49ers love this stuff. I think this was actually a part of one of the breakdowns that I did right before training camp when I did a series of plays on how Trey Lance fits into what Kyle Shanahan wants and why he probably fell in love with him. So now what we're going to get here on this one is you're getting another deep corner route by the tight end. And this receiver here is going to run an under. This receiver is Juwan Jennings. He's going to run a deep post. He's kind of deep and over the middle. And this is the ball that's a near pick. And what happens here is Lance doesn't read this properly. He thinks that he has man coverage when it's on that side of the field when it's not. They're zoning that up on the right side. So this is a zone blitz. The corner is able to fall back into the passing lane and knock it away. This is a play that, there's no way this isn't going to be intercepted because he's barely able to get a hand on it. But this is a ball that he needs. This ball, there's two different places that he should have gone with the ball. He should have either gone to the under route to the outside receiver here, or he should have gone to Jennings over the middle because he has him open. That's a tough throw to Jennings, but with a little bit of touch, you can get that ball up and over and to him. And look who's covering him. The guy that's covering him is number 92. 92 is the defensive end, is running underneath that route. This safety doesn't pay attention to him. This guy's over the top. This guy's not going to make the play. The safety over the middle. This safety, watch when they're going to rotate. This safety's not going to be able to make the play on this in route. So you got to kind of throw that ball up and over, maybe to about the 50, just inside the numbers there. And I think you're able to get a really big play out of that. Or go ahead and just hit the underneath route right here. And you hit it quick right about the same time as you threw the ball to the tight end. Either way, I think you get a positive play out of it. If you hit the deep route, that's a big one. If you hit the underneath route, it's still going to be a few yards. I think Craycraft would be able to haul that in. So that sets them up with 2nd and 10. 2nd and 10 here. This is the one where this is some situational football. You're going to get this right here is Werner. He's going to run a deep in about 10, 12 yards. And then at the top of the screen, you're going to get the receiver really running a pick on the linebacker and the running back going into the flat. And this is a great play designed by Kyle Shanahan. He actually gets two receivers open. This guy's going to get open late. This guy's open right now. If Lance just throws the ball to the flat, you're getting the ball into the hands of your running back with all this room to run because of that natural pick that you had right there. And I don't know if how big of a play it is, but it's probably going to pick up the first down because look at how much room there is between them. Instead, he decides that he wants to go down the middle. And I think he had predetermined that because I don't think he ever looks over there. And then he throws inaccurate. And part of the reason he throws inaccurate is because now he's got Aaron Banks in his lap and he's got to throw it up over the top and he's got to kind of get up higher than he wants to. So watch, Banks is going to get pushed back into his lap. See, he's never looking over here. He's reading this the whole time. He's staring down where he wants to go with the ball. Now he's got his right guard in his lap, which makes it a tough one. But go back to this is the area where Jimmy Garoppolo is going to take those underneath throws more often than Trey Lance. Trey Lance wants to be aggressive and he wants to get down the field, which is good. But I think it's easier to coach it out of him than it is to coach it into him. So that's not a negative. But the positive, the correct play right here, I think, is the easy way. I like the fact that he takes the hard throw, but for myself, if he just at this point right here, throw it to this guy, throw it to the running back. Look you've got a perfect pocket for this pick play, and if he catches this ball here, he's turning up the field and he's probably going to get to the 40. It's probably about a 20-yard pass play on a little dump off to the running back, and it would have been a big gain. Instead, he takes a much more difficult throw and he throws it incomplete. So not really the best. Again, it's 2nd and 10. There's really not a need to push the ball and try to get that throw in there. Hit your easy throw. Let him pick up some yardage after the catch. Then if he doesn't get the first down, you're going to be stuck in, you have 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, which is pretty manageable instead of 3rd and 10. 3rd and 10 things get a lot tighter. So then here on 3rd and 10, we're going to get a sack, and the sack's going to come from 92, the guy that was just 2 plays ago covering Juwan Jennings down the field, is going to get to the outside of Jalen Moore and run around the edge and get the sack on Lance. It's not a hard hit, so fortunately, it's not like he's taking any kind of punishment here because he kind of sees it coming, and then once this guy comes around, he's falling to the ground before he gets hit, so it's not like he gets crunched. On this one, let's go back and let's see if there was anywhere for him to go with the ball. Don't really think so. unless he dumps the ball off right now to this running back, maybe right before he kind of hits, if he just kind of maybe continues to roll to his right, he can dump it off to the running back there, uh, and get some positive yardage out of it. I don't know if it's going to get him the first down because Kansas City's in a good position. But they have 3 defenders there to tackle this running back. They've got this guy, their linebacker, they've got the corner, and they've got the sideline. So they've got a good little triangle there to be able to corral him in, even if they do throw the ball to him. But Moore's definitely got to do a better job. 92 showed you that his athleticism just a couple of plays before when he dropped into pass coverage. And this one, he almost jumps off sides. Look at how fast he's moving. He's moving long. He's moving before 76 is even really anybody. The other offensive linemen are out of their stances. See that? He just gets an unbelievable jump. So that's a bad rep for Moore. It's a bad rep for the offensive line, and who knows? Maybe that's a bad rep for the quarterback because maybe by that point, 92 got such a good jump there. 92 is across the line of scrimmage before any of the 49ers offensive linemen move. So maybe he's guessing there, or maybe he figured out what the snap count was. It's thank you, Swan. I appreciate it. I'm definitely going to talk a little bit about this afterwards. Your point there also about that he's squatting low on some of his throws. That's something that he does at times. He's I think what's happening is he's really trying to wind up and get into it. If you saw the breakdown that I did, go back to if you have an opportunity to go over and jump on Grant's channel. I don't think I have it on my channel, but it's that first breakdown we did of Trey Lance back way back right after the regular season. So we're just a couple weeks into the postseason, and we did one. And we were pretty harsh on him. I think that I said he should be a tight end. I think Grant said the same thing. And then we talked about him being maybe a 3rd round selection instead of the 3rd pick in the draft, whatever. So we're definitely wrong on some of that stuff. But yeah, if you watch in that one, I talk about him sinking his hips, and the problem with him sinking his hips is it's changing his eyesight. And if he's sinking his hips, go back to the conversation, the interview that we had with Coach McAvoy. If he's sinking his hips, what's happening to his eyes? They're going like this, right? And if his eyes are doing this, it makes it harder to be consistent with the throw, because if your head's doing this, your body's doing this too. And so your launch point is changing. So what you want to be, your drop, everything about your throw needs to be on an even plane. So your drop, your shoulders need to be the same, pretty much at the same way all the way across. As you start to throw, you want it to be right at that same level. If there's variation in your body at that point, especially in your hips and your knees, what have you, you're lowering your launch point, which means that the target that you're throwing out, instead of being up here, is now down here. So you really got to think about that as we go through it. We're getting towards the end here. This is going to be, we got 5 more to go. 5 more to go. So we're almost done. So this is they get the ball back. Andy Reid gives them a break. He decides that he wants to try kick a 62-yard field goal right at the end of the half. So that's really nice for Lance, because he gives them the ball at the 48-yard line on the Chiefs side of the field. But then this first play here, Aaron Banks gets beat around the right edge again. Right here, watch him get beat. And that's the second time that this happened in the game. This time, though, they're trying to get a little bit more vertical, and Lance isn't able to get the ball out of his hands quite as quick. It's going to be very similar to that first throw that he hit the running back on. If he wants to, he could have thrown it right here to this tight end. But I think he's trying to look and see if he's going to get that deep shot down the field, and gets a sack. Strip sack, and they're lucky he gets back on the ball, maintain possession. Now they're stuck back in 2nd and 18, and here on this play they're going to run. This is a concept that they run a lot, and it goes back to the days of Jim Harbaugh. They used to run this play too, Harbaugh and Roman, when they were here. And what you're getting vertical here. This little running back's going to run a little stop route right here, vertical. This guy's going to kind of run a little bit of a vertical, and then you get the underneath. This ball should go to River Craycraft. He's going to throw it over here to he's throwing this ball out here to the left side to Sermon. But this is if he gets this ball to Craycraft, The reason that you have this running back running this route is it's going to draw this coverage to him, right? And the reason that that's important is because you've got this guy coming across the field. If you hit him here, he's going to be cutting up through here. Okay. He should that so they're running it. They're running verticals with a guy underneath and a running back over here. The ball should have been sent off to the right side to Craycraft. It would have been a bigger gain than 3 yards. Might not get a first down because even if the guy that does come up and tackle Sermon, he still is going to be able to get a nice gain on that play. So then next here we got 3rd and 15. And again, you're going to like the aggressiveness because he's going to try to take the shot into Jennings. Jennings needs to work his way back. At this point, he needs to kind of take a couple steps forward instead of sitting. And it's an incompletion. This is the one that's near pick. That's going to be a tough interception for that guy coming across with the speed on the ball. Again, you like the aggressiveness on this, but what you got to think, the other thing to think about here is even if he hits Jennings, if Jennings catches this ball, you're looking at 4th down because they've got to get this ball all the way out to the 38-yard line. So they're still going to be 5 yards short. So he's making a really risky throw to set up 4th and 5 at your own 40 at the 42-yard line. So you're out of field goal range even if he makes this reception. You're going to be here. They're not going to try a 60-yard field goal. You might go for 4th down. So in that case, why not just go ahead and hit this guy who's wide open, easy throw, let him catch the ball, and he's probably going to get to about that same level as this receiver. This receiver's sitting at 42. He's got 2 guys around him. Even if he makes this catch, he's probably going to get tackled 40-yard line. You get the ball to this tight end, you're probably going to get the ball to about the 45-yard line, somewhere around there. There's not a whole lot of difference, and so that's a really aggressive throw down the middle. Again, I like the fact that he's aggressive, but I think you've got to be a little bit smarter with the concepts and everything that's being thrown out there. Because again, even if this is a completion, we're still looking at 4th and 5. Dump the ball off to the tight end, let him pick up a few yards. Probably going to set you up with 4th and 5. Even if you dump it down to him, he's probably because it's probably going to be an 8-yard completion. So make that throw and make it work. Hey Chardal, I'm doing good, man. Great to see you in here. I'm glad you're checking this out. So let's go back to it though, and we've got we're in the second half. So we got a couple of throws here. This is actually a really nice ball. It's going to be an incompletion, but I understand why it's an incompletion. So he's got movement, and he's throwing this ball, and he's put in the only spot that he can. He's got a comeback route from Benjamin on the outside. Good movement to step away from the pressure. He shows good poise in the pocket right here. He's got to throw this ball to the sideline. He's got to throw this ball right into here. It's a little wide though. So he's doing a good job of throwing that ball off to the left. He maybe just throws it a little bit too far out there. Benjamin's got to come back a little bit more aggressively to the sideline. He's got to feel where that defensive back is and try to get over there a little bit quicker. But this is the positive on this play is watch the pocket movement out of Lance, and he doesn't panic, keeps his eyes down the field. He's got to make a little bit better throw there at the end of it, but he's getting the ball away from the coverage, and at least it's not a bad throw because right there, that's a play where he's throwing it to the right spot. If he throws that inside, it's a pick six because there's nobody out there. So not the worst play that Lance could have made. I really like what he did in the pocket, that portion of it. And then this sets up the last one, 3rd and 5. They're going to try a little quick slant to the top of the screen. You've got Travis Benjamin here. And this is a really good defensive play by the the cornerback. He does a really nice job of getting his hands across. It's tight coverage. Uh, you can really see it from this view. I don't think the ball ever really gets to his hands. I think the DB drives through his hands with his arm. That's really good coverage by the corner. Sometimes that just happens. So, my takeaways from the game, and that was his last throw. 5 of 14. My takeaways was he definitely should have been 5 of 14. He should have been, he should have been 8 of 14, right? With the drops. Uh, he has the big touchdown play. That's great. He has the one ball that's knocked away, and some folks have said he should have had 2 interceptions. The one's not going to be an interception no matter what because the guy barely got his fingers on it. The one over the middle, that's a tighter one, but um, I don't think that that's going to be one that guys are going to have a hard time picking off unless they're really in front of that guy. But that was a bad decision. We covered that. But overall, the good part about this game, and I'm going to kind of take Kyle Shanahan's approach because I agree with what he said, is that it's good that they've put this on film and now they have a lot to work on. So my whole thing for Trey Lance is, I'm not really excited about what I saw in this game from him. I left the stadium on Saturday night feeling that he played better than I now think that he did. I think there was a lot more struggles than I realized watching it live. So he definitely has room that he needs to grow. He needs to step up, and this was a big week for him. So we'll see what happens. Everything goes everything happens now from here to the season. It's up to Trey Lance. He's put himself on film. We've all seen him in a game situation. We've all been able to now break him down on the 22, what have you. And so we need to see some big improvement out of him this week down in Los Angeles when they play the Chargers. They get a couple of practices with the Chargers today, and then they or not today, sorry, they're off today. They get a practice with the Chargers on Thursday, practice on Friday, and then they will be off on Saturday with a game coming up on Sunday. So, my whole deal with it is let's go ahead and look for big improvement from Lance and a lot of these guys here as we go into week 2. And let's go through some questions really quick. Let me get this off of the screen. What do you think of Jalen Moore, and how long will Banks be out? Moore's a guy who, my thoughts on Moore is he's playing about as good as you would expect, probably better than you expect from a guy that was a 5th-round draft pick that you were thinking was going to be, more of an interior player, more of in the guard role. And so the fact that he's been able to step in and he's doing an okay job at left tackle, the sack that he gave up here, that was one where the defensive end beat him. That defensive end beat the entire offensive line off the ball. So blaming it's Moore's fault because that was his man. But I think you have to look beyond that and kind of see the whole play and see the fact that entire offensive line got beat off the ball there. Yesterday, Moore had a really rough day in one-on-ones. He had a really rough day in practice at the start of practice and during team. He was just getting beat left and right, and there was some definite frustration that was starting to bubble up there. And then the way that the Fernanders run practice, they do a team period and then they take a break for another period and they come back and get back into team. He really struggled in that first team period. When they came back and they ran their second team period, he was much better. Definitely held his own and was part of the reason that they were able to move the ball 70. The first team offense was able to move the ball 70 yards down the field for a touchdown on their move the ball series that they had. So, and that included a deep throw by Garoppolo for the touchdown and a number of other little throws underneath. So it's not perfection, but the drop off when you're going from a guy who is a Pro Bowl caliber left tackle to a rookie 5th-round draft pick, it's noticeable. I think that they'd be able to manage their way through it. I thought that Moore, other than that one sack, Moore played okay. Matt asked another one. How long will Banks be out? Banks is out for 2 to 3 weeks. So he's not going to be the starting left. He's not in the running for the starting right guard position. I don't see him coming back after missing 2 to 3 weeks of camp and replacing Daniel Brunskill. So I think the starting offensive line is pretty well set at this point. Uh, let's see, what else do we have here? Coach Johnson, would you play Lance for 3/4? No, I don't think I'd play Lance for 3/4. But what I would do, especially now that they moved on from poor Josh Rosen, that poor guy. He looked about as defeated as anybody I've ever seen when he finally spoke to the media on Saturday night after the game. But what I would do if I was the 49ers is I'd play Garoppolo for a 1/4.5, and I'd play Lance for a 1/4.5. Uh, and I'd probably play the starting offensive line for the whole first half. So that would give Lance a few series behind that starting offensive line before uh, before he gets stuck behind the starters. I just think that would give him a little bit more of a chance. Uh, I think Lance needs this to get some run with the ones. He's gotten some more over the last couple of days at camp, but uh, every time he steps onto the field with the starting offensive lineman, it's been a zone run of some sort, either a zone run or a quarterback designed run, those kind of things. Not to get into specifics, but I think everybody pretty much knows what a zone read is, and so on and so forth. Tony says the 49ers front office. Thank you very much, Tony, for the donation as well. 49ers front office has established pattern of drafting mediocre to subpar O line. What are they missing? What can they do to improve? Here's the thing here is if they continue to have the struggles out of Banks that he's shown so far, uh, it's a situation where we might have to give him a little bit more time. They've the two offensive linemen that they've decided to use high draft picks on are both Notre Dame guys, right? Mike McGlinchey and now Aaron Banks. And McGlinchey struggled, really, really, really struggled in pass protection early on in his career. All through last year, it was really bad for him. He's a really good run blocker, but not so much in the pass protection. And maybe it's just something in the way that these guys are coached up at Notre Dame, and that's not allowing them to have their techniques down quite so much. I watched pretty closely the offensive linemen going through some drills. I think it was the start of last week when I was there, and there was some pretty hard coaching going on with Aaron Banks, and it's not anything big. It's a lot of little technique things. It's overstepping. It's not getting your hands up quick enough. It's not striking in the right place. Kind of being a little too high with your hands, and those kind of things. So there's a lot of little things that to the naked eye, if you might miss, but it's all little techniques. And these guys, when they're taking their steps, especially like in the run game, and they're going out the far route, they're not taking steps like you and I take when we're walking down the street. They're taking basically their foot's coming up and going right back down about 6 inches ahead of where it is. And if you overstride that, instead of being 6 inches, you take that to a foot or so, right? You might have a little bit more of a off balance kind of thing. And so I think that's part of it that's happening. So give him some time. He's mediocre at this point. He shows well during one-on-one drills at times in camp, but that getting beat around the edge, it happened twice in the game. And I think this guy just needs a ton of reps. And Coach Johnson makes a good point. You got Quentin Nelson and Zach Martin. They're pretty good in pass pro. Okay, and they're from Notre Dame. That's a fair point. And he says Ronnie Stanley as well. That's a fair point. It could be also, you got to remember too, Aaron Banks spent his entire time at Notre Dame on the left side of the line. I know that's where they drafted him from. I know that's where he played last year. Now he's over on the right side, so maybe it's a switch going from left to right that's causing him some trouble. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out an explanation for why he's getting beat as much as he is, because when you watched him on film during his time at Notre Dame in pass protection, the guy was just an absolute stud rock that people couldn't move around. So that's a little bit of a concerning point as they move forward. Do you think that Hufanga can eventually take over for Tart, with this being his contract year? He looks like a possible steal. I mentioned this in a tweet on Monday, I believe it was, and I asked the question, who starts first? Trey Lance over Jimmy Garoppolo or Talanoa Hufanga over Tavon Wilson? Because you got to remember right now, Tavon Wilson is the starting strong safety. But one of the things that um, uh, one of the things with Hufanga that's really good is he's good deep. He's really good as a deep, as that single high safety when he has everything out in front of him. He excels at that. So if you put him in that situation, he's going to do good. And you saw that in the game on Saturday. You've seen that at times at practice. The other thing that Hufanga does well is he works good up at the line of scrimmage where he can play almost as a linebacker in a kind of a linebacker role. But the problem with putting him in that situation is he struggles a little bit in pass coverage, uh, in man cut pass coverage. So you saw him getting some work uh, early in training camp where he was getting out there early. I didn't see it. I saw some of the folks that were in the stands who were taking pictures or video of it and were sending it out. So he's been getting extra work there, and this guy looks like he looks like a guy who was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year his senior year. He's a playmaker. He gets all over the field. Uh, I wish people would stop saying that he looks like Troy Polamalu because he's not Troy Polamalu, other than the fact that they both have long hair and they both have names with that might not be the easiest to pronounce, but he's not. But he has the potential to be a really good safety for the 49ers. And possibly even start early on in the season. And then I think we'll leave this one here. Something to pay attention to in practice and follow up in the reports is whether Lance is improving in practice on the weaknesses that we identified against Kansas City. I was up at practice yesterday. I missed on Monday. I wasn't able to be there, but I was there yesterday. And, Lance had an okay day. He was 9 of 15, I believe, and he had a drop. Made a really, some really nice throws. They were doing some different things with him yesterday. There was definitely a lot more movement when he was out there. He had a deep shot that should have been a touchdown, but he was moving out to his right and didn't get the ball out of his hand quick enough. And then when he finally did, it was the DB was able to recover and get back there, and the ball kind of floated on him, and it got knocked down. So. So that's it for today. I think we went almost an hour, but I hope you guys like the breakdown. Hopefully, I'll be able to keep getting the All-22 and working my way through this. It's definitely a little bit of a different process, but I was extremely excited when I was able to make it all work. So I appreciate everybody that took the time to watch the video. Those of you that joined live on the live show, really appreciate you, and those of you that went ahead and did the super chat for me. That was fantastic. This was the first show that I've done with that ability. So I really appreciate all of you for doing that, all of you that tuned in. If you're watching this and you're not already subscribed to my channel, please like and subscribe to the video. And if you're watching this and you are, just go ahead and hit, slam on that like button, hit the little bell so that you're notified every time we go live, and we'll keep coming back. So you guys all have a great day, and we'll be back with you with some more content. I will be back, just so you know, I'll be back tomorrow on Thursday with Jesse Naylor. We're going to be interviewing Coach Sean McAvoy, which is the quarterback coach that worked with Trey Lance throughout the offseason, from the time that North Dakota State shut down their season, pretty much up to the draft. The majority of that time was spent with Coach McAvoy and Quincy Avery. So we've got him on the show tomorrow, on the Hammer and Nail show tomorrow night at 6:30. So make sure you're over there. And I'm going to be trying to jump on and do Niner Chatter later on this afternoon about 3:30 if I can get enough of my work done. All right, everybody. You guys have a great day, and we'll be at you soon.